Hello, hello, and welcome to Dropping into Happiness. I am Rachel.
And I'm Maggie.
And welcome to another episode. This week, actually a little quick recap, just in case you're new to this podcast. Maggie and myself have been on a wellness journey for, can you believe it's been almost 2 years?
Almost 2 whole years.
I know that we've been on a steady journey. Because I don't know about anybody else, but this was not my first rodeo. I don't believe it was Maggie's either, but this is my third and final. Like, I've been on this journey solid for 2 years. So it's been pretty good. And so obviously during this podcast, we kind of wanted to talk about our journey and what's been going on with it. And so this week we're talking about kind of how we began with activity when it came to both of our journeys. Cause Maggie and myself have both lost just over 100 pounds. Not going to lie, put a little bit of that back on over the holidays.
Me too.
I know, getting into January, refocusing. A lot of my goals for 2022 are activity and like fitness related. So I'm pretty happy about that. But how we began on our activity. So Maggie, do you remember kind of what was one of the first things you like wanted to start doing during your journey?
Well, it's interesting because I would consider myself an active person throughout life. And I played sports growing up. I played competitive softball. I always joked around that I was good enough to make the all-star team, but never good enough to start on the all-star team. I was very much like the cheerleader. And so I was like always pretty active, but I think when I really started becoming the most consistent in terms of intentional activity for wellness was in June of 2017, and it wasn't even attached with a specific weight loss goal, but it was more so, I want to run a marathon. So at that point, I signed up for a marathon that was about 6 months out, and I picked a couch. Yeah. Well, I Googled like, how long would it take to go from couch to full marathon?
Yeah.
I found like a few different programs. And I was like, okay, I think I can do it. And so I signed up for a race, and then I started running 3 times a week at that point, and doing like cross training 2 to 3 times on the off days. So that's just kind of how I got started with my most consistent journey.
So running has been kind of your go-to then? Like, it's been
definitely in the past, which I can't believe. Was it 2017? Dang, that means it's been how many years? Almost 5 years. What?
Wow.
Right? Goes by so fast.
I know.
It's
That's
crazy.
wild. When I first started, like I said, my third and final journey in January though of 2020. And I know myself. I know that I tend to just want to go all in. I'm like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to work out, and I'm going to like clear out all of my cabinets and drink water every day. Like, I'm going all in. And then it's too much, and I'm not successful at one of, my pillars. And then I think, well, I'm failing. I can't do this. And then, well, I'll start again on Monday, and I just would set really, really unrealistic expectations for myself. Mm-hmm. So when I started this time, like I said, I know that I looked back at like, hey, what has worked for me? What has not worked for me? And, so the program that always worked for me was WW, and we've talked about that a couple of times in our last 2 podcasts. So like food wise, that was kind of what I wanted to look at, but like I knew I didn't want to even think about anything else. I was like, I'm just gonna get my food. Mm-hmm. So I started in January, and I didn't even attempt any kind of physical activity until June of that year. Like, I went 6 solid months of just looking at my food. I wanted to be comfortable with my food. I wanted to have a good relationship with my food before I added in this extra step of things that I wanted to do. And from my weight, I had, I could not be on my feet long. I couldn't, my back would hurt, my feet would hurt. Mm-hmm. So I remember when I started, it was, I took baby steps, like hardcore baby steps. I would maybe walk to the end of my block and back, and like my back would start to hurt. So like, all right, well, that's as far as I'm gonna go today. Or like if I wanted to do, like YouTube workout videos, I would do 5-10 minutes maybe, and I would be dying. Mm-hmm. But I was okay with that. Like, so I set very realistic goals for myself. So I didn't, I love that you had such a big one to shoot for. Like, I didn't do that at all. I was just kind of like, I just want to be able to stand up for a little bit of time. Oh yeah.
I
So
think it's just my personality. And
you're like, go big.
signing up for a race, I think if there's anybody out there listening that's wanting to get into running or thinking like, how do I start? I think personally the biggest motivation is just actually signing up for the race. And it doesn't have to be a marathon. It can be a 5K, right? But
Yeah.
it's like, okay, if I want to feel confident, if I want to succeed across the finish line without injuring myself, I got to put in the work. And that just kind of helps you have something concrete to look forward to. Like, Rachel and I, we've been talking about becoming jump rope girls.
Yeah.
And I used my same mentality that I tend to have, which was like 0 to 100 of I'm going to jump rope every single day. I didn't have something concrete and specific to work towards, so I didn't jump rope every single day, right? It was not long before I was like, oh, I forgot to jump rope today. Oh, I forgot
Yeah.
to jump rope today. Like building that new habit. So I think for me, having that, this is what I'm working towards specifically helps me to be consistent.
Yeah. Well, but talking about taking, like for anybody else who's looking to start an activity, you did take baby steps to your marathon, didn't you
Oh
though? Because
yeah,
like you said,
because
you used
started
a
with walking.
program.
Yeah, started with
Yeah.
walking more than actually running in the beginning. So,
Yeah.
the training schedule I followed was couched to 5K first, and then
Okay.
5K to 10K, and then 10K to half, and then half to
Oh,
full. And so it broke it up into these benchmarks that made it seem a little bit more manageable.
I still would love to just do a 10. I can do a 5K in a heartbeat, and I'm very proud of that, but I've never like pushed to go a little bit more. So I want to do that. You know what I did though? I did this when I lived in Texas because I've did, gosh, 4 or 5 states. When I lived in Texas, a friend of mine, I was easily 50 pounds or more heavier than I am right now. And I wanted to do one of those fun 5Ks. Have you ever done one of those?
Like with paint and fun
Kind of,
things, or
yeah.
like the
We
ones where
did.
you get muddy and stuff.
Yes, it was more of a mud run.
Yeah.
We did Warrior Dash. That's the one it
Yeah, I've
was.
never done anything like that. It would be
Oh
cool.
my gosh, it was so, and it was, I thought I was ready for it. I'm like, it's a 5K, it's gonna be fine. Oh my gosh. I remember we both started, and I have a picture of it too. We both started with pink shirts on, and by the end of it, they were brown because we had to like go through
That
mud.
sounds fun.
But like the very first thing we had to do was go up this super big hill. And like, so like right off the bat, my lungs were on fire. And I was like, oh, this is going to be great. But like my palms were scabbed because we had to like crawl through these tunnels. And like you had to go out because it was by a lake. We had to go through the lake and go over like logs in the water, up a rope wall. And then at the very end, when just my body was super fatigued, we had to jump over fire.
Oh,
I was so scared.
what?
That my legs would just be like, burr, burr, and like I would just go like face first into the fire. But no, I made it. I made it.
How does
and I
one
wasn't
even
last.
train for that? How do you?
I know. And I wasn't last. That was my
That's-
favorite part of that whole thing is because they put little, like they gave you those little. Do you guys have trackers when you do your
Yeah,
your
we have them
marathons?
in our bibs. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like one that we put in our shoelaces. I kept it forever.
That's
But, yeah.
so cool. Yeah.
I want to, and now that like I'm more athletic and more fit than I feel like I've ever been and even since I was in high school. I want to do another one. Now I feel like I could like really put in some effort, like really do
definitely.
it justice.
Yeah.
So I really.
Yeah, I funny at last place. I actually came in last place in the Atlanta half marathon. It was the same weekend as the Olympic trials
Yeah.
for summer 2020, right? That's what we just had, I think.
Yeah.
It's like COVID made everything confusing. But anyway, it was February of 2020, so just before everything kind of shut down. And yeah, I was in dead last for the half marathon. And this was right after I joined WW's. I'd been on the program for a couple of weeks and I was already down like 15 pounds, but I was still like around 275, something like that. And I was just slow. I was moving. I didn't stop, but I was just slow. And the cop car was behind me the whole like I think from like mile 7 onward, I was in last. And I just kept telling myself, someone has to be last, and I'm covering the same distance
Yes.
as everyone else, and I'll get there when I get there. But I was like, okay, it was just kind of a reminder of like WW is only going to make you a better runner, to keep going. So when I did the Orlando half this past September, I was nowhere near last place, and I just remember being so stoked about that. Never saw a cop car,
Yeah.
finished strong. I was like, woo!
I
So,
love that mentality though, that somebody has there will always be somebody else, but I'm still covering the exact same distance as everyone else. That's a
yeah,
fantastic way to look at that.
yeah.
I like. Was there anything that you always wanted to try that you're like, I'm too big for this, or I don't think I should be doing
You
this?
know what? And I don't even know if I really want to try it necessarily, but one thing that I've always told myself, ooh, was CrossFit. Because
Oh,
it's very, like, high, as far as I know, it's very high intensity, high impact. I think, like, a lot of box jumps, a lot of,
body weight too. Yeah, I like good
yeah,
body weight stuff.
and a lot of, like, snatches. I think of, like, and just, like, really, and
They're hardcore.
I'm thinking, like, oh, my knees, or, like, oh, like, jumping up on an object, for some reason, that sounds so intimidating to me. Um,
And it's funny because it sounds so simple.
yeah,
It's like, okay, I could jump. Oh yeah, no, I don't want to jump onto that. Like
yeah,
it was funny though, because I've always kind of thought that too. Like I could do that. But you see people like hesitate. I'm like, would I hesitate? I don't know if I would. And my daughter and I were at the gym the other day, and they have them kind of sporadically throughout our gym. And I saw one, and it wasn't one of the super high ones. And I told her, I was like, I'm gonna jump onto that. And she's like, why? I was like, I just want to see if I can. And I was like, just watch out, because I don't know what's gonna happen. And I did it, and I think it was I had 1 to 2 feet or whatever, but I was like super excited that I
that's
just like jumped up onto
awesome.
it.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, maybe I could
it's just
do
like
some more stuff like that.
things that sometimes, like, my mindset from when I was almost 300 pounds, like, I would second guess, like, jumping over a small creek on a hike or something, just like little things that you're
Really?
thinking, like, I'm not trying to snap my ankles, and there's
Yeah.
like, well, even now, like, I would want to try skiing again. See, I've had a lot of horrific activity experiences. Skiing the first time, I was probably like 250 plus pounds when I first tried it, and I was terrible and mortified, and it was really hard. And I'm thinking, like, I wonder if that is something that would be easier now, or
Right.
like
And because
paddle boarding, standing up on
oh,
a
I would love to do paddleboarding. I always thought that though, like, oh, my center of gravity would be weird, so I'm
Well,
just not
you
gonna
went
do it.
roller skating
Yeah.
recently. Did
Yeah.
you notice? I don't know when you had last been, but did you notice any difference in your ability to roller skate?
Yes, it was kind of funny. And it was funny because I felt like the faster I went, the more stable I felt. When I would slow I know, because when I was heavier, like I like being slower, and I just kind of felt like I could just kind of sway, but I liked going faster now, and I felt like I had a lot more control going faster now. But it was, yeah, I wouldn't, after we went, I was like, we need to come back and do this again. Like, I hadn't been on a roller skating like rink in such a long time, and that was super duper fun. Because I tried derby. Did I ever tell you that I was doing roller derby very briefly in Texas?
No.
Yeah, because I was like, I'm a big girl, right? They need big girls to like knock them over, and I did it very briefly, and then I couldn't afford to do it anymore, and that's why I stopped doing derby. But I would have 100% kept going. But I even told my husband, I was like, well, now they need the fast one, right? The one that like goes around everybody. So maybe that's the one I'm gonna. He was like, please don't, please don't.
That's so funny. That would be really
Yeah.
cool. Because it's
Oh
just like
yes.
little things like that that I'm like, they're activities. They're not necessarily like going to a gym and doing something like lifting heavy weights or whatnot, but it's like a way of moving my body that would have been a lot more challenging in the past. I'm thinking like, or even
Yeah.
like I said, paddle boarding or stuff like that. And there's a lot of stuff too that I wish I could do now, but like I feel like the ship sailed. Like, be on a cheerleading team and do like tumbling. I'm like, I
Oh.
want to tumble, or like, I want to be on a dance team, or there's just like so many things.
See, okay, so I was
FOMO.
a cheerleader in high school, and I was very, very active, but I was never the one that like flipped in the air. I was the one that threw people, so I still have very strong legs.
Yeah, so
But
strong.
like an adult dance crew, I'm telling you, there's got to be some
There's
outfit,
got to
'cause
be something out
especially
there.
from being a cheerleader. I know this is super weird, but like I miss choreographed dancing.
Me too. Or I want to take like,
Isn't that weird? Like
yeah,
I like to do like choreograph. Like I think that's why I like doing. I'm gonna throw a shout out to the fitness marshal on this one on YouTube.
oh my
I love
gosh,
doing
he's
those
so fun.
dances.
Yeah.
He first of all, he makes them very fun, but I like to do the choreography and I like to learn it. So then when I go back to do it, I'm like, I almost don't even need to watch it. Like my daughter laughs because my husband hates me. My daughter in the grocery store, we're like, oh, there's a dance to this one, and we can like do the moves in the grocery store. He's like, But I missed that. I missed doing that with like a group of people.
Yeah.
And it was not something I thought I'd ever miss. Like I thought that was kind of weird that I missed choreographed
Yeah, no, I
dancing.
totally wish I could be a part of some kind of adult like dance team, or even I know I'm sure this exists as like adult ballet classes. I want to take like ballet
Oh
for
yeah.
beginners. I mean, listen, Rachel, I just have this dreamer mentality where I just want to do all the things.
Well,
Activity.
okay, so looking into 2022, we got a new year coming up.
Ah!
Let's pick one. Like let's pick one that we say we're going to try or we're going to do.
Okay. We have to just pick one. Oh my
I
gosh.
know.
See, that's
Whoa.
hard. And we just have to do it once within the calendar year. Is that what we're
Yes.
challenging ourselves to do? Okay.
Yes, I think
I
so.
feel like realistically, I could try paddleboarding. I live in
I think
Florida,
that's
so.
totally what I was thinking too, because I live kind of by Big Bear, and I love lakes. Since I'm like I've kayaked on lakes since I'm like okay, I think I could paddleboard on the lake. I think that'd be really fun.
But
I'm writing this
also,
down.
I'm kind of into the idea of trying an
Paddleboard.
adult ballet class. I don't even know if we have that here. I feel like it would have
I
to be
know
a
in my
thing.
town I was looking one day because like I said I miss choreographed dancing, and they did have like an adult hip hop class, and I was like, oh, do I want to take that?
Yeah, it's just
Because the
like,
last time my daughter when she was doing dance a long time ago, I remember it wasn't, like you learn a routine. Like that's kind of what the class is. It's not like Zumba where you do like different dances every week or whatever, which is fun. I love Zumba, but I want to learn like a dance.
yeah, yeah, like a full dance, and then I want to give a
Yeah.
performance.
Yeah.
That's why I love Instagram reels because they have like these little dances, and I try to learn those. I'm not the best, but
Well, that's
it gives me
fun.
something to
The
work
only time I've
towards.
ever done one of those challenges, because there's like fitness challenges too on Instagram and
Yeah.
TikTok and all that, and every so often I'm like, I'm gonna try that.
Yeah.
And it was one and a firefighter was doing it, and so I think he was in the push-up position, and he like did the tap the
Oh
shoulders and the
yes,
leg
I
that
saw
one.
like left, right, left, right.
Yes,
Yes, I know
yes.
exactly which one you're talking about.
And I remember going to show my mom, and I was like, I'm gonna try this, and she was like, all right, and she tried it with me. And the first time she did it, she fell, but then we are like, nope, nope, we're gonna do this, and we did it. We did the whole thing. I seriously thought it was gonna take me a really long time to
Oh
to
my
like be able to do it,
gosh.
but I was like that just showed me that I am a lot stronger than I thought I am
Mm,
if I could do that. Like, and I was like, oh my goodness, I was very proud of myself.
yes. Oh my gosh. Can I tell a little bit of a story here about
Yeah,
it's related, I promise. Because I know with folks out there who are listening and they might not be in the position where Rachel and I are now, where we're kind of, Rachel's in maintenance and she's still creating those goals to kind of motivate herself, and I'm obviously doing the same but in weight loss mode, kind of in the midst of the journey. But let's say you're just starting out, it's like day 1 for you, and you're thinking like, how do I get into this routine of activity, or what does that have to look like? And one thing that really helped me, and I kind of learned this through my Orange Theory fitness journey, which I don't even touch on, but we have to kind of claim the identity that we are working towards. So, like for example, with Orange Theory, they have a rowing machine that we use pretty often, and rowing is something that was not a huge part of my journey until I started Orange Theory, and was the machine that I was the most uncomfortable on. Didn't really know the form and all that. So I used to kind of dread that part of the class. I'm thinking like, oh, just let me get to the treadmill because I love running. But then I said, you know what? I pay for this and I should probably enjoy the entire class rather than just portions of it. So I said, okay, I am a row girl. And I just started telling myself, I'm a row girl. So every time I'd step into the Orange Theory studio, I'm a row girl. And then I would ask the coaches, like, about my form, like, can you check, just make sure, and I just kind of get tips
yeah,
and tricks. I watch videos. Like, I just started kind of like going all in on this idea of I'm a row girl. And we have in Orange Theory these workouts called benchmarks, which they'll give us a certain challenge. We'll do it, and then we'll log our distance or our time, and then we'll do it again in a couple of months and see if we improved. And
nice.
it was only a matter of time before I was in top 3 of the studios for rowing benchmarks. And I've
Yeah,
never podiumed on anything active. Like, I came in last place during a half marathon. I'm not someone who's
yeah,
looking for like a medal here, but when I saw my name on the list, I was like, I am a row girl. So it's kind of like picking something that does encourage you or inspire you to use your growth mindset, but also we kind of have to claim that. Like, like day one, I am a runner. Even if we're walking the
Yeah.
majority of the time, just telling ourselves like what we're envisioning and how we want to show up in the world. And the more that we claim that, the more we believe it. One of the mantras that I live by is what we say is what we hear. What we hear, we make happen. So if you're someone out there listening and you're starting out your activity journey or even just your overall health and wellness journey, claim how you want to show up in the world because you will.
I like that.
Yeah.
I know it would just kind of that kind of like talking yourself through it. A few weeks ago when my daughter first started going to the gym with me, we were doing elliptical. I'm proficient as elliptical. I do it all the time. But for those of you who've never done elliptical, it looks very easy. And within, 30, 60 seconds, your legs are on fire.
Yeah.
And I remember one day we did our whole workout and we got in the car, we were heading home, and she looked at me and she goes, "You know what I did today?" I was like, "What?" She's like, "When we were on the elliptical, I really wanted to quit. And I told myself, you can do this. You can do this." And I was like, I was so proud that she like pumped herself up.
Yes.
And just starting to have that mentality of if this is something I want to do, I can do this.
Yeah.
I can do this.
It's so cool.
That
You're
was
all
like,
are cultivating that healthy relationship with activity. And hey, doggo.
I know.
Home studio.
Yeah.
No. We need like a jingle whenever that happens. Yeah,
Right?
I think that's so beautiful. I think that's awesome because it's truly like, I mean, we talk about the pillars in WW, and it's true with food, but also with activity. That mindset is really what makes or breaks us in terms of our consistency and success, just saying we can do it. Maybe not yet, or maybe it doesn't look like what we thought it would. But we can and we will. So.
Yes. Well, thinking of kind of on this train of thought. So we've talked about this in the last couple workshops, our STAR goals. So going into this week, thinking about our STAR goals, especially, new year, all these new things. My STAR goal is, like I said, going into this year, obviously I said a lot of my big goals are going to be fitness related. So each week I'm going to set, a very good specific STAR goal. So like I said, something STAR goal is something specific that's really doable, has an action that's relevant. So this past year, I just getting very consistent with my going to the gym. I've been strength training maybe 2 days a week, doing other activities. Like I said, we go. I play softball with my daughter. We go roller skating, but I want to strength train 3 to 4 days. Even if I have to do one of those days at home, I'm going to schedule that out. Like I'm going to put it into my week. I already went today, but that's my STAR goal for this week. I'm going to start soon to add one more day to my strength training. And then, so if you're new to this podcast, we do a recommendation every single week as well. So, my recommendation this week is, especially if you are kind of just starting off your journey or starting it again, just walk. I can't tell you, like, especially when people are like, "Oh, I have bad mobility," or I cannot tell you how beneficial just walking is. Just walk. Even if that's all you can do, walk around your house, walk to the end of the block and back until that feels comfortable, and then walk a little bit more the next time. So my recommendation this week is walking.
Yeah, I love that, Rachel, because it's important to remind ourselves that we can still reach weight loss goals. We can still live a healthy lifestyle without spending 2 hours in the gym. Really, the activity is a benefit of our heart health, our bone health, our mental health, right? Just like overall how we feel, but it's not a deal breaker in terms of can we lose weight or not. And because I know, like, for example, my mom, who's lost almost 120 plus pounds on WW, she averages maybe 5,000-ish steps a day, right? And that's just steps that she accumulates throughout the day because of where she is with her journey and specific things with her health, right? So you can still really make amazing progress walking to your mailbox and back. So I love that, Rachel. My STAR goal, so when we're recording this, I'll be traveling this coming week. And so I am still preparing for a marathon that I'm going to be running on January 9th. So by the time you're listening to this, I probably will have finished it. Yay! But I'm in what's called taper right now. So I want to keep my activity going, but I'm we're kind of recovering and just preparing. So my goal is to just get 2 30-minute runs in at some point this week while traveling. So that'll be cool because I'll get to do it in a new area, which will be fun, and the weather's going to be great. So I'm excited about that. And then my recommendation is make a playlist. A music playlist that'll
Ooh.
pump you up for your activity. Even if you set a goal, like I'm going to walk for one of these songs, or I'll jump rope for one of these songs, or whatever your activity is of choice, I think just having like a fun, pumped up playlist can be really beneficial. So make a
Maggie,
playlist.
I know, but okay, since you're bringing this up, I think that we should share some of the music on our playlists. Like, do you want to do that on Instagram this week?
Yes, let's do
Okay.
it. We can
Yes,
make a little
because
posty post.
I have like I have a walking playlist and I have like a strength training playlist because like my strength training playlist is very like heavy metal hard rap, and then my walking playlist is a lot of like David Guetta and like very fast pace, and
Yeah,
so that'd be fun. We should share. We'll do that this week. We'll share some of our favorite songs on our playlists
it's a good idea.
for
Yeah.
activities. All right, guys. Well, we are going to wrap this episode up. So thanks for dropping by.
Yes, hope you have a magical day. Thank you.